Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 9 Part 19 based on novel. So let's start. A gentle wind blew along the mountain peak, blowing away the tense and hostile atmosphere. However, when everyone saw the thin figure grasping the sharp black tree trunk, as he pointed it at Shinto-ju's forehead, they could not help but to feel their hearts tighten. They could feel an extremely thick killing intent from Lin Dong's body. A killing intent that was ice-cold and filled with cruelty. The victor has been decided. Gazes turned towards Shinto-ju one by one. His aura was weak, and his delicate and handsome face appeared extremely pale. This sight caused everyone to sigh inwardly. At this stage, the outcome of the match was clear. However, the result left them with a heart full of complicated feelings. At the very beginning, even with Lin Dong's breathtaking victory using the Azura method, there was still no one that had believed that Lin Dong would actually be able to defeat the famous Iron Azura of the Heaven Wind Sea region. The only people within the younger generation in the Heaven Wind Sea region who could beat him would be the two monsters from the universe and demonic wind caves. Had a third person now appeared? Many people looked at one another with shock in their eyes. They did not know exactly where Lin Dong had sprouted from. To think that he was actually this formidable. Under the attention of countless gazes, the deadlock atmosphere in the square lasted for a moment. Meanwhile, the killing intent given off by Lin Dong did not show the slightest signs of reducing. Staring at Shinto-ju, the metallic black tree in his hand faintly flickered with a cold light. "You've won." Shinto-ju stared stubbornly at Lin Dong. After a long time, the stern and unwilling gaze gradually dimmed. As he wiped away the bloodstains from the corner of his mouth, an extremely hoarse voice rang out. "Thanks for the win." Only upon hearing those words did Lin Dong's chilling gaze gradually turn gentle. A smile started to appear on his face once again, which made it seem as if the previous vicious and cruel face had never existed. "The Gu clan has found a good helper," Shinto-ju said in a low voice. In this fight, he had also used all of his strength. However, he was still unexpectedly defeated by Lin Dong. Although he felt somewhat unresigned, he had no choice but to admit that the opponent in front of him was not someone whom those geniuses from the four great clans could compare to. Lin Dong's strength, personality, decisiveness and viciousness were superior to his own. Brother Shinto's strength is tyrannical. I merely relied on certain tricks, Lin Dong said with a smile. A victory is a victory. Any method you use is also part of your strength, Shinto-ju replied, while shooting a deep look at Lin Dong. Waving his hand, he proceeded to turn around and walk off without saying another word. "Since you've won, the quotas of the Chaotic Tower will belong to the Gu clan. However, I'll be looking for you in the future." As he watched Shinto-ju's departing figure, Lin Dong slowly unclenched his fists. Slowly raising his head, he looked towards the giant ancient tower at the corner of the square while pursing his lips. After racking his brains and putting in his all, he had finally obtained what he wanted. Hopefully, the Chaotic Tower would truly allow the mysterious stone talisman to recover. "We've won." When Shinto-ju turned around and walked off, everyone now completely understood the outcome of the match. At this instant, emotional roars and cheers erupted from the Gu clan side. "Formidable, he actually defeated Shinto-ju," Gu Yunqian muttered, as he looked at the thin figure within the plaza with some admiration. He had crossed hands with Shinto-ju before, and naturally knew how fierce and vicious the latter was. However, Shinto-ju seemed to have truly met a tough foe today. While Gu Shou stroked his beard, the gaze he sent towards Lin Dong was filled with unspeakable admiration and regret. If such a talent could be recruited into the Gu clan, he would definitely become an important character within the Gu clan in future. Looks like Lin Dong's name will resound across the Heaven Wind Sea region in the future, Gu Menchi said with a beautiful smile. Upon hearing this, the surrounding crowd nodded their heads. News of today's fight would definitely be very quickly spread in the Heaven Wind Sea region. At that time, Lin Dong's name would not be unknown like it had been before. They seemed to have witnessed the rise of a new star, although Lindong himself might not care much about it. This fellow. While the Gu clan were cheering in the Wei clan direction, the still somewhat pale faces of Wei Zhen and Chen Luo twitched a little. He actually defeated Shintu-ju, Wei Zhen muttered, as he clenched his fists tightly. A sliver of dread flashed past his eyes as he stared at Lindong. The previous fight made him understand, the latter had simply not used his full power against them. Brother Chen Luo, this brat will not be easy to deal with, Wei Zhen said in a low voice towards Chen Luo, whose gaze had turned gloomy. A dark look flashed within Chen Luo's eyes, before he coldly chuckled and replied, "It will be hard for us, however, this way, he will only be even more miserable." "Oh," Wei Zhen said while raising his brow. "Since he has killed my junior brother, given my master's character, he will not take this lying down. Later, I'll spread this news around. At that time, as long as my master rushes to hear, it'll be hard for this brat to escape." Chen Luo replied with a cold smile. If Elder Nefarious Bone is willing to personally take action, this brat will indeed be miserable." Upon hearing this, Wei Zhen immediately grinned, as joy appeared within his eyes. He was originally filled with resentment towards Lindong, and the latter's performance only made it more intense. If the latter was finished off, it would dispel the resentment in his heart. He was asking for it. Although my junior brother is slightly stupid, he's not someone that can be killed by the likes of Lindong. Although Lindong has some connections with the Gu clan, my master is the sinecure of the demonic wind cave. Hence, the Gu clan will not dare to say anything. Chen Luo said. You're right, brother Chen Luo. This Lindong was previously an unknown figure. Thinking about it, he must have encountered some miracles that greatly increased his strength. He has quite a few formidable martial arts. If those were to land in brother Chen Luo's hands, you might even be able to defeat Shintu-ju, Wei Zhen said. At this point, a greedy look appeared at the corner of Chen Luo's mouth. He was extremely interested in the martial art that Lindong had used the day before to absorb the power of the land. If he could obtain it, it would result in a great increase in his strength. While Wei Zhen was scheming with Chen Luo against Lindong, the Shintu clan's Shintu Dao could only sigh as he watched Shintu-ju walk back with an emotionless face. He did not blame or reprimand, and just patted the latter's shoulders. Subsequently, he raised his head, and looked towards the Gu clan. As he cupped his hands together, the Shintu clan has lost this match. The 3 quotas for the Chaotic Tower will be given to the Gu clan this year. When Shintu Dao's words rang out, the faces of quite a few Shintu clan disciples dimmed. In the previous fight, both parties had fought fairly and honorably. Since Shintu-ju had lost, they too had nothing to say. The black-clothed Shintu-rong was currently biting her red lips. She looked at the somewhat dull expression on Shintu-ju, and could not help but feel somewhat complicated. This was the first time she had seen the defeated appearance of this heaven-gifted genius of the Shintu clan. In addition, the person who defeated him was neither of the 2 people at the pinnacle of the younger generation in the Heaven Wind Sea region, but a previously unknown youth. Who could have anticipated this result before the fight? Upon hearing Shintu Dao's words, Ji Shou hurriedly cupped his hands, and returned the greeting with a smile, "Many thanks." Shintu Dao shot a look at Lindong, with his gaze appearing slightly stern. Under this stern glare, the latter did not move at all. He met Shintu Dao's gaze with his own rather serene gaze. "Your thanks should go to that little brother. This time, your clan has found a pretty good external helper." After this intersection of gazes continued for a short while, Shintu Dao was the first one to retract his gaze. The sternness in his gaze gradually dissipated before he faintly nodded his head and spoke out. A little bit of praise appeared in his tone, as the youth in front of him was indeed extraordinary. There was no need for Shintu-ju to feel sullen after losing to someone like Lindong. However, he was curious, if this youth were to meet with the 2 people at the apex of the younger generation in the Heaven Wind Sea region, would he be able to still maintain this blade-like sharpness and calm? Such a meeting would indeed be rather interesting. The fight to defend the tower had concluded, and this martial gathering had reached its end. The vast crowd on the mountain summit, as well as the noise, started to gradually dissipate. After today, Marshall Gathering Island would still be relatively lively, and news of the shocking fight today would likely spread at an astonishing pace. However, Lin Dong did not give any extra attention to this matter. Since the result was determined, he returned to the GU clan side under the respected and revered gazes from the surroundings. Getting straight to the point, he asked, "When will I be able to enter the chaotic tower? If you so desire, you can enter as soon as tomorrow." GU Shou was evidently in an extremely good mood, as he answered with a laugh. Lin Dong nodded slightly, as the weight in his heart was finally lifted. As he rubbed his chest, he could feel that the mysterious stone talisman within his body seemed to be vibrating in excitement. "I hope that you can recover in there." Feeling the vibrations from within his body, a smile appeared from the corners of Lin Dong's mouth. He mumbled to himself, as he lifted his head to look at the ancient chaotic tower. The explosive atmosphere on Marshall Gathering Island had gradually died down following the conclusion of the Marshall Gathering. After witnessing an exceedingly exciting exchange and the final outcome, the experts from various places left the island feeling rather satisfied. Naturally, when they left, they also spread the shockwaves brought forth by a youth by the name of Lin Dong. The fame of this youth, who had defeated the Azura from the Shinto clan, had started to unknowingly spread in the Heaven Wind Sea region. However, Lin Dong did not have much personal interest in such fame. If it was not because he planned on using this fame to search for Little Martin and Little Flame, he might have even done his best to prevent it from spreading. Therefore, when he heard Gu Mengqi speak about his current fame in the Heaven Wind Sea region, he did not have much comments. Compared to this matter, he was obviously more concerned about the chaotic tower. Fortunately, the Gu clan did not show any sign of abandoning their benefactor after achieving their goal. On the second day after the end of the Marshall Gathering, with Gu Shou leading the way, Lin Dong once again appeared in front of the ancient limestone tower. Below the tower, Lin Dong halted his footsteps and raised his head to look at the stone tower that was brimming with antiquity and vastness. The vestiges of time had carved patterns on its surface, however, it was akin to an everlasting existence, standing straight and never falling. There are 8 levels within the chaotic tower, and each level is brimming with desolation chi. Little friend Lin Dong, when you're in there, please make sure not to step past the 5th level. Beside Lin Dong, Gu Shou looked towards the stone tower, before suddenly speaking out. "Oh," Lin Dong said while feeling slightly startled. "Every time you advance a level in the chaotic tower, the desolation chi present will become many times thicker. Although the energy has an amazing effect on the tempering of one's physical body, it is extremely dense and heavy. With your current strength, the 5th level is likely your limit. If you were to head deeper, your body might instead be corroded by the boundless desolation chi there," Gu Shou warned. "Looks like the strength of the profound death stage is required to enter the 8th level, huh?" Lin Dong muttered while feeling somewhat amazed. 8th level? Gu Shou's expression turned strange, as he shook his head. He replied, "Till now, there hasn't been anyone who has been able to enter the 8th level of the chaotic tower. Even those at the profound death stage could not succeed. Even the profound death stage can't do it." Upon hearing Gu Shou's reply, Lin Dong could not help but have a change in expression. To think that the desolation chi within the chaotic tower was so formidable, that even profound death stage experts were unable to endure it. The clan leaders of the 5 great clans have all tried to enter the 8th level, however, not a single one succeeded. As for them, they were all super experts at the perfect profound death stage. Gu Shou replied with a grave tone. Lin Dong's eyes faintly narrowed. Perfect profound death stage, at this level, one should be a first-class expert even when placed within the chaotic demon sea. Never did he imagine that even such individuals were unable to entire the chaotic tower's 8th level. Looks like this ancient stone tower was not simple after all. This stone tower has existed for an extremely long time. Our 5 great clans discovered it 100 years ago, and joined hands to protect it. Subsequently, we've attempted to explore its mysteries. However, other than discovering the large quantities of desolation chi it possesses, we have not discovered anything else." Gu Shou lamented. All of them could guess that this chaotic tower had an extraordinary origin. However, it was unfortunate that no one was able to truly discover it. Lin Dong nodded his head gently. Since the chaotic tower had remained preserved until now, it should have been created by a rather impressive expert. Although the 5 great clan leaders had the strength of the perfect profound death stage, there was still quite a gap between them and the owner of the chaotic tower. I'll be careful. With these thoughts, Lin Dong sent a smile towards Ji Yu Shou. At the same time, a trace of anticipation rose in his heart. He really wanted to find out just what mysteries this chaotic tower contained, to cause even the mysterious stone talisman to become this agitated. Ji Yu Shou nodded his head and said, "There are only 3 quotas for us to enter the chaotic tower per year. You've taken up 1, and our clan is left with 2. However, the nominees for the quota have yet to be decided, thus you'll be entering alone." Lin Dong did not mind this arrangement. He would feel more comfortable if he was alone. The mysterious stone talisman within him was something that he did not wish for other people to find out. "If you're prepared, are you going to enter the chaotic tower now?" Ji Yu Shou asked. "Yes," Lin Dong replied with a smile. His eyes were brimming with anticipation and curiosity. Seeing Lin Dong's expression, Ji Yu Shou did say anything else. With a spread of his palm, a golden plaque flew out from within. In the next instant, a golden light shot out from it, illuminating the door of the chaotic tower. Under the illumination of the golden light, the surface of the chaotic tower instantly sparkled with golden light. A golden array that was faintly discernible was seen to form, enveloping the entire stone tower within it. Looking at the array that had enveloped the stone tower, Lin Dong knew that it was obviously not something that was innate to the stone tower. It was likely arranged by the 5 great clans. Perhaps, they had wanted to use this method to prove that this chaotic tower was something that belonged to them. As the glowing golden array enveloped the stone tower, golden fluctuations began to radiate from the tower, and a golden door of light started to appear. "Go?" Ji Yu Shou looked at the golden light door which had cracked open and said. Lin Dong nodded his head. Without wasting any time, he walked forward, and passed through the golden light door that had opened, as his hands gently made contact with the ice-cold stone door. Boom! Rumble! Following this contact, the chaotic tower instantly started to vibrate faintly. The tightly shut stone door also started to slowly open at this moment. A thick and ancient aura emerged. In an instant, it seemed as if all of the surrounding air had been pervaded by a great desolation flavor. Lin Dong took a deep breath of that ancient aura. Without the slightest bit of hesitation, he walked forward. Under the gaze of Ji Yu Shou, he walked into the darkness of the stone tower. Boom! After Lin Dong had entered the stone tower, the thick and heavy stone door started to slowly close, causing the ancient aura that had pervaded out to be isolated within. Lin Dong's footsteps rang out as he slowly walked within the dark stone tower. The interior of the tower was much more vast and expansive than he had imagined. There were some moonlight pearls inlaid within the tower, that radiated gentle rays of light. This caused the interior to feel increasingly empty and quiet. Completely empty. This was Lin Dong's first impression when he entered the chaotic tower. Surveying his surroundings, there wasn't even half an object that existed within its vast interior. The only thing present was desolation chi that saturated the surroundings, which made him sense how extraordinary this place was. With a clench of his fist, a strand of devouring power radiated out, devouring a large amount of desolation chi. As it entered his body, Lin Dong could immediately feel a scorching feeling emerge from within his body, while a boiling sensation was faintly discernible in the muscles and bones in his body. Such fantastic desolation chi. Lin Dong clenched his hands tightly, as joy and happiness erupted on his face. The heavenly dragon chi, initially given to him by Qing Shi, had already gradually assimilated into his body as his strength rose. After losing it, the rate that his green dragon materialized dragon skill improved had slowed. However, from the looks of it, this sluggishness had been clearly removed by the desolation chi. It seemed that the chaotic tower was extremely beneficial towards the refinement of one's physical body. If he stayed here to train for a period of time, his green heaven materialized dragon skill would definitely improve substantially. This is a good place. Lin Dong grinned. Just as the smile appeared on his face, a white glow rose from within his body. At the core of the white light was the mysterious stone talisman. This mysterious stone talisman was finally unable to resist, and took the initiative to show itself. As the mysterious stone talisman floated in front of Lin Dong, the white glow that surrounded it circled around Lin Dong, as humming noises rang out. In the next moment, it transformed into a ray of light, and shot explosively towards the next level of the chaotic tower. Upon seeing this, Lin Dong hurriedly circulated the Yuan power in his body. He transformed into a flash of light, as he rapidly chased after it. A talisman and a person swept past the interior of the tower, creating low and deep whooshing noises. After rushing into the second level, they continued ascend. Within the spacious interior of the tower, a white light suddenly flashed past. Following closely behind it was another streak of light that traveled at the same speed, while two whooshing sounds shattered the ancient silence within the tower. These two figures were naturally the mysterious stone talisman and Lin Dong, who had followed as the stone talisman rushed within the chaotic tower. The sudden change in the behavior of the mysterious stone talisman made Lin Dong feel increasingly helpless. He did not have absolute control of this object that had a rather terrifying origin. He was also unable to control many actions of the latter. Therefore, in such a situation, he had no choice but to obediently follow it. It's already the 5th level. When Lin Dong once again ascended to the next level in the tower, he suddenly felt his body sink. As his gaze swept the area, he noticed that the desolation chi around him had become even more radiant. The dusky yellow radiance was perfused with an indescribable sense of heaviness. Under this heaviness, even Lin Dong felt as if he was wading through mud. His body no longer had the nimbleness and agility it had before. As he forcefully resisted the heaviness from the surroundings, Lin Dong raised his head, and looked towards the stone talisman that still showed no signs of slowing down. Gritting his teeth, he did the only he could do. With a thought, the devouring ancestral symbol appeared in a flash above his head. In the next instant, black devouring force rapidly transformed into a halo, enveloping his body within it. As the devouring force spread, the sensation of heaviness finally weakened substantially. Subsequently, he noticed that the mysterious stone talisman had already started to rush towards the 6th level. God damn it! Lin Dong bitterly smiled, as he cursed, before shooting forward once again. Among the 3 divine items in his body, the mysterious stone talisman, the devouring ancestral symbol and the ancient universe formation, the mysterious stone's usage was the least clear to him. However, Lin Dong knew that this was only because the stone talisman was currently in a deep sleep. If it was able to awaken, the aid it provided would not be the slightest bit inferior to the devouring ancestral symbol. Therefore, he was obviously not willing to give it up so easily. Subsequently, Lin Dong gritted his teeth, and resisted desolation chi that was growing everly heavy, and accompanied the mysterious stone talisman as it rushed towards the 7th level. Upon entering the 7th level, even though he was relying on the devouring ancestral symbol to protect himself, Lin Dong was able to feel the extremely frightening pressure encompassing his entire body. The surrounding desolation chi had practically become as shiny as gold, and it looked as if he was in a sea of golden liquid. Lin Dong very cautiously and carefully stood within the golden liquid sea, without daring to move at all. He knew that if not for the devouring ancestral symbol blocking 80 to 90% of the pressure, even with the materialized heaven dragon skill, the current him would likely be squashed into pulp. Under this kind of pressure, even his Yuan spirit would be unable to flee. Fortunately, what made Lin Dong feel the most relaxed was that after reaching the 7th level, the mysterious stone talisman finally came to a stop, without any indications of rushing to the next level. The stone talisman floated in the air within the 7th floor, before suddenly emitting a gentle white glow, which transformed into a whirlpool. In the next moment, Lin Dong was able to see a flood formed from the golden liquid-like desolation chi endlessly pour into the stone talisman. Following this boundless infusion of desolation chi, light started to sparkle on the surface of the mysterious stone talisman. A sliver of life force was faintly discernible as it started to circulate on the stone talisman. It seems as though the desolation chi here possesses some sort of restorative effect towards the mysterious stone talisman. Upon noticing this scene, Lin Dong could not help but exclaim in shock. This desolation chi truly was mysterious. Not only could it refine a person's physical body, it even seemed to have an effect on various soul treasures. However, how do I utilize it? Looking left and right, Lin Dong's gaze swept past the membrane of devouring force, and observed the golden liquid-like light that surrounded his body. In the next instant, his face turned somewhat green. The desolation chi here was already getting close to the point of turning into something substantial, while the energy contained within it had already reached a frighteningly vigorous level. At this level, even Lin Dong did not dare to casually absorb it. Just as Lin Dong's face turned green, the mysterious stone talisman seemed to sense the awkward predicament he was in. Immediately, a gentle white light shot out from it, illuminating 100 feet radius around Lin Dong. Under the light, the desolation chi that looked akin to golden liquid instantly evaporated, before finally transforming into strands of golden desolation chi. This mysterious stone talisman had unexpectedly extended a helping hand and diluted the desolation chi. Although the desolation chi at the 8th level was still too great of a supplement at Lin Dong's current level of strength, with the support of the devouring ancestral symbol, Lin Dong was able to cope with this diluted desolation chi. Looks like it still has a little conscience. Lin Dong muttered while curling his lips. He shot a look at the mysterious stone talisman, which was still immersing itself in absorbing the desolation chi, before proceeding to take a seat on the floor. Regardless of quantity and quality, the desolation chi on the 8th level far exceeded the previous levels. Even among the 5 great clans, there should not be many that had the strength to reach this place. Next up, I have to enjoy the rewards after the bitter battles over this period of time. Lin Dong grinned. With a thought, the devouring ancestral symbol above his head transformed into a circular black hole. Devouring force erupted from it, instantly causing the diluted desolation chi in the surroundings to flock towards it, before finally entering the rotating black hole. As the majestic desolation chi entered his body, Lin Dong's body instantly trembled, while a dazzling golden light erupted from the surface of his skin. A scorching hot sensation started to spread in his body. As it spread in its body, it produced kai-kai sounds like lava. Breath. Lin Dong took a few deep breaths. His face was already suffused with golden light, and he could extremely clearly feel that the cells, muscles and bones in his body were seeming producing extremely greedy sounds of excitement, as if the desolation chi that was entering his body held a fatal enticement to them. Suppressing the rampant happiness coming from his heart, Lin Dong immediately started to activate the green heaven materialized dragon skill. As a dragon roar instantly rang out of his body, green light started to emerge from the depths of his body. Fusing with the golden light, it proceeded to absorb it completely like a gigantic dragon devouring anything in its path. If one were to observe Lin Dong's body from the outside, one would discover that it was suffused with a golden green light. As these two different colors interweaved, an ancient color started to gradually appear on his skin, and gave off a primal feeling. As the green and gold interweaved, green vein-like patterns started to extend on the skin on Lin Dong's arms. Faintly, it seemed as though there were traces of the 5th green dragon light tattoo congealing. The overbearingness and strength of the green heavens materialized dragon skill depended on the quantity of the green dragon light tattoos. In the past, after absorbing the heavenly dragon chi in his body, Lin Dong was only able to refine 4 of them. However, there was progress again within this chaotic tower, and he was able to condense the 5th green dragon light tattoo. From the looks of it, it seemed as though this was only the beginning. It was obvious that Lin Dong was able to sense the formation of the green dragon light tattoos. Immediately, happiness started to flood out from his heart. Lin Dong knew that if he was able to condense 10 green dragon light tattoos, coupled with the green dragon heavenly seat seal, he would absolutely be able to defeat Shantu Ju in a move, instead of the bitter battle that happened previously. Condense with all your might. Lin Dong chuckled in his heart. In the next moment, he concentrated once again, as the green light within his body transformed into a giant dragon, completely absorbing the desolation chi that was entering his body without any restraint. If he were to miss such an opportunity, it would truly incur the wrath of the heavens. In the vast and spacious 7th level of the chaotic tower, a man and a stone talisman were akin to bottomless pits. Suction forces erupted from the two, endlessly absorbing the desolation chi that pervaded the air. Under their absorption, gales started to form in the area. The desolation chi akin to a golden liquid emitted low and deep rumbling sounds akin to waves in an ocean. However, it was fortunate there was no one else within the chaotic tower, as such a disturbance would definitely attract the attention of others. In this environment where no one was around to disturb them, the man and the stone talisman continued to absorb without restraint. However, while Lindorn was immersed in the carefree strengthening of his physical body, he had yet to discover that the desolation chi that pervaded the entirety of the 8th level of the chaotic tower seemed to show some faint traces of cracking. As small cracks started to form, a faint indescribable ancient desolation chi started to emerge. This video will end here.